Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back to discuss a data analytics problem asked in Google. This particular problem is based out of the most famous Titanic dataset, which many of us might have used once in our analytics journey to build a capstone. So today in this particular problem, we have to calculate the average passenger fare for non-survivors who belongs to the same passenger class. So as we can see, like in this particular data set, we have like passenger ID. This flag is also there, basically, which tells us like whether that passenger had survived or not. And we are having like passenger class as well, right? So let's see like how we will approach this particular problem using self-join. Make sure you watch the video till end to learn something new, and please subscribe to my channel if not already done yet, as I will be coming up with a lot more useful content. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So over here, as we all know, like this particular data set is at a passenger ID level, which contains like passenger details along with the fare which they had paid to Titanic, right? Now, as part of this particular problem, we have to calculate average absolute fare difference between specific passenger and all the passengers which belongs to the same class, right? So over here, as we can see, we are having this passenger class, right? So for a specific passenger class, right, we have to basically calculate the like fare difference between the two passengers, right? So basically, the fare which two passengers had paid, we have to calculate the average absolute fare, right? And along with that, basically, the other information which is available as part of this particular problem is both the passengers should be non-survivors, right? So we have to use this column as well, right? And we have to ensure the age difference between the two passengers is 5 or less, right? So we have to basically consider only those passengers whose age difference is less than or equal to 5 years, right? We have to output this along with the passenger name, right? And the average fare which they had paid, right? So since there is a single table available which contains like passenger name, their survivability, their like passenger class, the fare amount which they had paid, right? So we will use this single table only. And on top of this, we have to do a self join, right? So let's get started, and let me just tell you like how we will be able to approach this particular problem, right? So first of all, we have to basically since in this particular data set we are having all type of passengers, right? Whether a passenger had survived or not, we are having all type of passengers available in this data set, right? But as a part of this particular problem, we have to deal with just with non-survivors from this particular data set, right? So what I will do, I will basically use this particular column and I will filter out those passengers whose survivability was not there, right? So let me just select passenger ID, right? Along with that, we will select passenger class, right? Along with that, like we need name, we need age, right? And we need fare, right? Because all these details are important to solve the problem. Rest others like we can skip, right? On top of this, we have to put a condition where survived is equal to 0. So basically over here, we are having 0 and 1 as a survivability flag, right? As you can see, we are having 0 and 1. So where survived is equal to 0, which means like that person did not survive, right? And if we look at the age column, right? So over here, as we can see, we are having certain null values, right? Since we have to deal like in this particular problem, since we have to deal with age column because we have to calculate the difference between ages, right? So for that, we have to deal with this age column, right? So I will ignore all those records where age is not available, right? Because anyways, we won't get anything out of that, right? So I will like filter out those conditions as well. So I will use and age is not null, right? So please provide me all those records where survivability was not there and age is not null. So let me just run this. So as you can see, we are having passenger ID, passenger class, name, age, and fare, right? Now let me just put this into CTE. So with let's say non-survivors as the CTE, right? select star from non-survivors. Okay. Now, on top of this, what we have to do basically, we have to ensure like the passengers should be from same passenger class, right? So two passengers which we wanted to consider, or like whose age difference which we wanted to consider, that should be from same passenger class, right? Apart from that, basically the age difference between those two passengers should be less than or equal to 5 years, right? So can I say this thing? Like can we assume like we are having the exactly same table, so we are having two tables, right, which is a replica of the exactly same table, right? So imagine we are having two tables over here, and let's say if we have to join those two tables, right, which is a replica of the very first one, right? So for that, what we will do over here, we will ensure like we have to join this on same passenger class, right? Because we have to ensure like passenger class needs to be same, right? Apart from that, what we have to ensure, the passenger id should not be equal, right? Because let's say if passenger id will equal, that means that particular passenger is same, right? So let me just quickly tell you what I meant to say. So over here, what I will do, select star from non-survivors. I will give this as ns1, right? I will basically join this to non-survivors table back, right? I will give this as n2. I mean, like this is pretty much clear. Like we have to basically ensure like the passenger class needs to be same, right? So for that, it should be straightforward. So ns1 dot pclass is equal to ns2 dot pclass, right? So this is pretty much straightforward. Apart from that, or let me just run this query and we'll show you how our output will look like. So let's say ns1 dot star and ns2 dot star. Okay, so now let's run this and we'll show you what will be our output. So as you can see, we are having passenger ID, we are having passenger class. So over here, as you can see, this passenger class is same, right? But over here, basically passenger ID is also same, right? So for that, basically like this particular passenger is same, right? So for that, if we, even if we will like we will do age difference, we will get 0, right? That particular record will qualify, right? But since this passenger is same, that won't make any sense, right? So in order to get rid of these kind of records, what we will do over here, I will filter out. So while joining like these two tables, I will filter out these kind of cases over here, right? So what I will do, I will do ns1 dot passenger id is not equal to ns2 dot passenger id, right? So basically both the passengers should like for both the tables, passenger id should not be equal, which means like we will get, so basically like one passenger id will get merged with a different passenger id, right? So let me just now run this query and we'll show you like whether we will get this record or not. So yeah, now as you can see, for like each and specific passenger id, we are getting a different passenger's id, right? So basically there is a combination of two different passengers over here, right? Which we have to basically ensure as part of this particular problem, right? Now, apart from that, the third condition is, the third condition over here is basically we have to ensure the age difference between two passengers is less than or equal to 5 years, right? So for that, what I will do, ns1 dot age uh, and subtraction of ns2 dot age, right? So basically and the absolute value of these two, right? So basically absolute value of these two, I will use abs to get absolute values. So that should be less than or equal to 5, right? So we have to ensure this particular condition as well. Now let, or we can consider this as part of our select statement. Now let me just run this and we'll show you the output. Where the problem is, I mean this. Okay, over here. Okay, now let's run this. Yeah, so as you can see, we are having all those passengers over here whose age difference was less than or equal to 5 years, right? So for time being, I will remove this because we don't need it at all, right? So now what we have to do, we have to basically calculate the age difference between the two passengers, right? So again, for that, what I will do, and after calculating age difference, we have to take average as well, right? So I will use average, which is absolute value of age difference. So age difference, we can get it from here. Okay. It should be absolute. Okay. So this will be my age difference. So I will give it as alias as average absolute fair. It No, it should be fair difference, right? It should not be age difference. So let me just rename this as fair, and over here also it should be fair. Okay. So fair difference. Okay. Now, yeah. So over here we are basically selecting everything, and we are having absolute fair, or like average absolute fair, difference of average absolute fair for both of these passengers, right? Since we are doing aggregation over here, so what we will do, we will use group by. So I will use group by of what? Group by of what we have to fetch over here. So in output, we have to fetch passenger name, right? So instead of select everything, I will use ns1 dot passenger name, or over here, since it is name. Okay. So yeah, and I will give this alias as passenger name. Okay. Now, with respect to this, we can do group by, and we can do order, like basically order this as well. So I will use order by, same thing. Okay. So now let me just run this and we'll show you what will be our output. So over here, as you can see, for each passengers whose passenger class was same, and whose age difference was less than or equal to 5 years, we got average fare difference for those two passengers, right? So this is the average fare difference for all those passengers whose passenger class was same, and whose age difference was less than or equal to 5 years, right? And all these passengers did not survive on Titanic, right? And that's all we have to basically figure out as part of this particular problem. I hope you got to learn something interesting from this part of problem. Let me know in the comment section, like if you will be able to solve this using any other method. Thank you one and all. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.